Joining me now is political analyst Peter Mathews, a frequent guest of our program. Peter, thanks for being with us.
Good to be here, Natalie.
All right, it's the holidays. Happy holidays to you. I don't know how much happy holidays is going around in Washington, because this is the first time in 40 years the government will have been closed 3 times in 1 year. And now Congress says, well, we'll take it up after Christmas. What do you make of the impasse, and who is to blame for it?
Well, they almost had a compromise worked out, just a few days ago. And then President Trump threw a tantrum and said he wanted money for the wall and he's not backing down, because what happened was someone on Fox News said that he was backing down. He shouldn't do that. Always looking towards his base, he says, no, I'm not going to go for the deal. And the deal was off. And so the whole thing ended up falling apart. I would blame him the most for it, actually, in the end. At this point, anyway.
Yeah, do you think that President Trump is surprised that the hardliners will hold him to this wall? I mean, he did promise it. He did say Mexico would pay for it. That's not going to happen. And then he seems willing to compromise. But then those who really believe in him say, wait a minute, you're not doing us right.
He's always concerned about those really hardcore right-wingers who he may lose, and a few percent of the loss among them could cost him the election next time, he thinks. At this point, he's not going to be able to win anyway, because very few people really support him percent-wise, but he's really beholden to that right-wing, extreme right-wing group that he's used to try to placate them each time, and he's causing a disaster for himself and for the country, in a sense, and chaos, to say the very least. It's not good what he's facing right now, with the stock market crash going down and all the other things happening. A lot of it has to do with this uncertainty he's bringing about by this kind of behavior.
Right. There's so much going on with his presidency. This is probably the last thing that people wanted to deal with, a government shutdown. But here we are. Democrats indicate they have no plans to fund a wall. Never did. Let's listen to the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, talking about the shutdown. And then after that, Democrat leader Chuck Schumer. And then we'll talk about it.
Democrats have rejected that reasonable request. They've refused to meet President Trump halfway and provide even one-fifth of the resources for the border they were willing to provide just a few months ago. Just a few months ago. There's no bright line of principle that separates hundreds of miles of physical barriers in 2006 from new physical barriers in 2018.
It will never pass the Senate. Not today, not next week, not next year. So, Mr. President, President Trump, if you want to open the government, you must abandon the wall. Plain and simple.
Is it plain and simple like that, Peter, do you think?
It really is, because a majority of the Congress does not want the wall. That includes a large number of Republicans who are concerned about that. And yet he wants to be very strong-headed about it and say, we have to have the wall, because he thinks he campaigned on it. He has to stick to his campaign promise. But it's bringing the whole party, his own party is going to be brought down because of that. Look what happened in the election. The midterm showed that people who were against that wall and want to fix the immigration problem in a different, better way won the landslide victory. The Democratic Party won the victory. And I don't know why Trump didn't see that and see he's going the wrong approach, is what he's doing right now.
If he does not get his wall, then what for his re-election chances?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think as it's going right now, he's going to get reelected to begin with. And if he doesn't get his wall, he'll probably lose some of his own hardcore base of support, but he's not going to gain anyone else's support because of all the other things he's done that has really jeopardized the country and the policies of the country and the feeling of who we really are as a people. So he's not going to win either way, in my view. If he continues this way, it's not going to help. If he changes his ways, it might help a little bit. I'm not sure it'll be enough to get him over the top in 2020.
Well, let's discuss for a moment the other top story this week. First, the Secretary of Defense quitting in part over Mr. Trump's decision to pull troops out of Syria. Now, another top official is quitting for the same reason. Brett McGurk was a special envoy fighting ISIS in the Middle East. President Trump says his quitting is no big deal. Is it?
It's a very big deal, because not only he was the envoy to the coalition fighting ISIS, and as importantly, he was a close ally of General and Defense Secretary Mattis. And with Mattis going and then him following suit right after it, it's a 1-2 punch for showing the world that President Trump is losing some of the best talent that he has in the government, that he had in the government. And it's very destabilizing for people to think, what can this president do He's done not so well even with such good support. Now what will he do without this kind of support and this kind of talent? And it's a very dangerous thing that's happening right now. We're in a very critical juncture in so many ways in this presidency and what's come of it so far, Natalie.
All right, we'll wait and see what happens next with this story and, of course, the government shutdown. Peter Mathews, as always, we really appreciate your insights.
Thank you.